you will understand how and why to be careful from using those two functions in Python that are called eval and exec. Now, this will be a short video unlike my other full courses and tutorials. Make sure to watch it until the end before you go back to working on your Python project. Okay, so how the eval and the exec functions are used sometimes that people tend to use it in their projects. So eval will help you to execute quick expressions inside a string. So this means that if I go ahead and say that I is equal to eval, and then I perform an action inside the string like 5 times 5, then it knows how to execute it and also return the result to you. So this means that running this code should give us 25 back. And that is something that could be nice if you want to develop a quick calculator, for example, that checks the operator here, and that could be good. Now, the exec function is used in order to save variables in the Python's memory, so you could also use it in the future in your program. So this means, for example, let's say that we develop a versioning program here. Besides coding in v1 equals to version -1 and then do this maybe a couple of more times just to have a variable for each version, then people tend to use the exec function so that we could save more than one variables. So this means that you can go ahead and say for I in range, and we will start by 1 here, and we will finish in 11 by purpose, and then we could go ahead and exec a Python code that will look like the following. We could say that v in I, right, because this is the variable that we iterate over, is equal to a string of version dash and then reference to this I variable again. Now, if I have something like this, then I can easily go ahead and print v1 or v3 or v5, although it shows a syntax error, but it doesn't really going to matter because we executed this here in this line. So if I run this program, then we will see the expected result here. By the way, if we want to know what is the correct way implementing something like this, then you should do this with a dictionary. You should create an empty dictionary and start a for loop and then fill in keys and values to this dictionary. And launching a code like that is just the more Pythonic way, the correct way to do that. And you can see that it brings in the same result. Now again, if we take the previous approach, then here's the exact first reason why we should avoid using the execs and evals. You can see that now it is going to be very unfriendly working with this program because it gives us fake syntax errors. Fake errors about how those variables are not existing inside the Python's memory. But I can prove you that it exists, right? If we debug this program with an entry point, let's go ahead and right click and debug it, then you can see underneath that those variables are really inside Python's memory, and so that's why we want to be careful before we use those eval or exec functions. Now we can also see that we have variables that are hard to understand where those variables are coming from. Because when we see something like this in the debug section, then the expectation is that we really have those variables declared in the fashioned way, meaning that we really have something that says v1 equals to some value, for example. And so programs that are including the eval and the exec functions becoming much harder to debug. That's why you also want to avoid using those. Now let's go for a second back to the program that performs math operations very easily with the eval. Now let's imagine that we want to do this on demand. Let's imagine that we want to receive at least one argument that gives the operations string, right? So this means that if I was to go ahead and say here something like 5 times 6, then we should receive 30, but we receive 25 because of the print line here, and we don't do anything with those 3 arguments. Now there's actually a way that you can receive arguments separated by a space when you try to execute Python programs. So you can go ahead and import the sys library, and then there is this convention of bringing in the arguments in the following way. So we can say arguments, and that could be equal to sys.argv like that. Now once we have this and we try to print this in, let's temporarily comment those out, and we launch a program like that, then you can see the result. So this is the first argument, this is the second one, and that is the third one. So I can actually go ahead and do something like the following, right? I can say first argument is equal to sys.argv in the first positional, and I can do the same thing with the second one, right? And I can do the same thing for the third one, right? So it will be index 3. And then I can change my program in the following way. I can uncomment those lines and I can say that that is equal to first arg, and that should be a formatted string, and then second arg, and then third arg, like that. And then I can go ahead and execute this program in that way, and you can see that it works, right? Now check out what can I do now with a program that was intended to be a math operation project. So I can try to go ahead and again run this one, and I can pass in the following arguments. So first argument 1 underscore, second argument 1 more underscore, and then the third argument will be a string inside double quotes, and I can just continue writing Python code, and then it will be injected as a Python code that will be valid to execute because we have the eval function, which is, again, that is why it could be very dangerous. So I can go ahead and complete my Python code here with a one-liner. I can use the magic method of import double underscore import double underscore, and I can import the OS library, and I can continue on here by using the system method, and on top of that I can decide what command I'd like to run on the system. So I can go ahead and say shut down this computer in 45 seconds and also force it. Now if I run this, you can see what is about to happen in 45 seconds. Now imagine that you develop this big Python script that runs on important servers. We can definitely understand how insecure this chunk of code is, because we basically give the option to our users to retrieve sensitive data only from this Python project. And that's it. Those are the reasons you should be very careful before using eval and exec in your projects. I hope that you learned something new from this video, and if so, please share this one with your friends and consider liking this video. I am out of here because the computer is going to shut down. See you in the next upload.